I am Ted Bundy. Yes, that Ted Bundy. The man newspapers called the handsome serial killer. The man women fainted over in courtrooms. The man protesters cried for during his execution. But do you know something? None of you ever truly knew me. You couldn't, because I lived among you. I laughed with you. I helped you. And you noticed nothing. Now I will tell you everything, from the beginning to the end, because there is nothing left to hide. The electric chair has already come and gone. But you are still here, sitting, reading with curiosity. What does that tell you? The 24th of November, 1946, Burlington, Vermont. I was born in a home for unwed mothers. My mother, Eleanor Louise Cowell, was only 22 years old and unmarried. And my father never existed. Just a name, Lloyd Marshall. Or maybe Samuel. Or maybe he was nothing more than a lie. The first lie started there. My grandparents adopted me, but not really. They raised me as their own child, while my mother became my sister. For years, I lived as Theodore Robert Cowell, never knowing the truth. That was my first trauma. I was a lie. My grandfather, Samuel Cowell, was racist and violent. My grandmother was depressed and had undergone electroshock therapy. Some nights I heard screams in the house. I was upstairs, under my blanket, trembling, while my grandfather dragged my grandmother by her hair. And no one said anything. Everyone acted as if it were normal. That's when I learned something important. Masks matter more than truth. When I was 8, we moved to Tacoma, Washington. My mother, no longer my sister, now officially, my mother married a man named John Bundy. He gave me his last name, Theodore Robert Bundy. A new identity, a new lie. I wasn't popular at school. I was handsome, yes, I knew that, but something inside me was missing. While other children laughed and played, I watched them, as if there was a glass wall between us. I couldn't feel. I couldn't connect. When I was 12, I found something in my grandfather's basement. Detective magazines, crime photos, dead women, violence. That night, as I read them, I felt something, for the first time. Arousal, excitement, power. That was the beginning. But no one knew. I was just quiet, studious Ted in 3rd grade. In high school, things changed. I learned to control my mask. I learned how to smile, talk, flirt, how to imitate it all. People started to like me, but I didn't like them. I was only acting. One night, when I was 14, I looked through a woman's window. She was undressing. My heart raced. My palms sweated. The next night, I went again, and again, and again. It became a game, and I was winning. In 1965, I enrolled at the University of Washington. I studied psychology. Ironic, isn't it? I understood human behavior, but not myself. Or maybe I understood myself perfectly and just never told anyone. That's where I met Stephanie Brooks. Long brown hair, parted in the middle, a refined face. She came from a wealthy family, sophisticated, beautiful, and I fell in love with her, or at least I thought I did. But she didn't take me seriously. "Ted," she said, "you're too uncertain. You don't know what you want in life. You're inadequate." Inadequate. That word echoed in my head for days, weeks, months. And then I made a decision. I would show her how adequate I was. I would make her regret it. In 1968, she left me. And from that moment on, everything changed. After Stephanie, I disappeared. I dropped out of school. I was unemployed. I slept in libraries. But then something happened. I made a choice. I was not a monster. I was going to be a success. In 1970, I returned to the University of Washington and finished my psychology degree. I started working for the Republican Party. I joined a gubernatorial campaign. I volunteered at a suicide prevention hotline. Yes, you heard that right. I was saving lives. One night, a woman called. Her voice was fragile. Her husband had beaten her. "Please," she said, "please help me." I spoke softly. "You matter. You're strong. Call the police. Go to a shelter. I'm here for you." She calmed down. She thanked me. She hung up. I hung up too. I looked at myself in the mirror. There was nothing in my eyes, nothing at all, because I was an actor. And that was one of my best performances. In 1969, I met Elizabeth Klopfer. Liz, beautiful, sensitive, devoted to me. She had a young daughter who loved me and called me Dad. I could have been happy with her, truly. Some mornings I woke up beside her, had breakfast, acted like a normal family, and in those moments, I almost felt human. But at night, I became something else. While holding Liz, I thought about Stephanie, her long brown hair, her arrogant gaze, that word, inadequate. And something rose inside me, anger, hatred, a desire for violence. Liz knew none of this. She knew nothing. In 1973, I entered law school at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. A new city, a new start, but the same dark thoughts. And now, I could no longer suppress them. January 1974, Seattle, Washington. Her name was Karen Sparks. She was one 8-year-old university student with long brown hair. I entered her apartment at night through a window. She was sleeping. I stood beside her bed, holding my breath. My heart was pounding, but my hands didn't shake. I had brought a metal rod, and then I struck her. Once, twice, 3 times. She moaned, tried to move. I didn't stop. I couldn't, because in that moment, just that one moment, I felt alive. Then I stopped. I looked at her. She was covered in blood, struggling to breathe. And I felt nothing, only emptiness. I left. I went home. I took a shower. I slept. The next morning, I had breakfast. I went to class. As if nothing had happened. Karen Sparks survived. She was in a coma, but she lived. I wanted more. In February 1974, Linda Ann Healy disappeared. She was a university student and radio news announcer. I entered her room at night, drugged her, and took her. This time, I was organized, planned. I wouldn't make mistakes again. March, Donna Gail Manson. April, Susan Rancourt. Kathy Parks. Each had long brown hair, middle part, slim face. Each looked like Stephanie. My tactics were simple, but effective. The help scenario. I wore a cast on my arm and pretended to struggle carrying books. "Could you help me get to my car?" And they did. Authority figure. Sometimes I posed as a police officer. Fake badge, fake uniform. "For your safety, I need to take you to the station." And they trusted me. The charming gentleman. Sometimes I was just myself, smiling, flirting. "Would you like to go sailing on the lake?" And they agreed. Because I didn't look dangerous. I was handsome, polite, trustworthy, Ted. The 14th of July, 1974, Lake Sammamish State Park. A hot, sunny Sunday. Thousands of people picnicking, swimming, laughing. I was there to take 2 women. The first was Janice Ott. She was sunbathing in a bikini. "Hi, I'm Ted," I said. "I'm trying to load my sailboat onto my car. Could you help?" She hesitated. "I'm waiting for friends. It'll only take 5 minutes," I said with that harmless smile. She agreed. She never saw her friends again. The second was Denise Nasland. Same beach, same story. But this time, there were witnesses. They heard my name. They remembered the sailboat story. For the first time, I made a mistake. And publicity became my greatest enemy. Newspapers described a suspect. A man named Ted, driving a Volkswagen Beetle, wearing a cast, handsome. Liz saw the composite sketch. She confronted me. "Ted," she said, trembling, "this looks like you." I smiled. I squeezed her shoulder. "Liz, there are thousands of handsome men in Seattle. It's a coincidence." She relaxed. She trusted me. But she had already reported me to the police. I just didn't know it. In September, I moved to Colorado. New city, new victims. October, Nancy Wilcox. November, Melissa Smith, the police chief's daughter. December, Carol DeRanche. But Carol was different. She escaped. The 18th of November, 1974. Fashion Place Mall, Utah. Carol DeRanche was 18. I approached her dressed as a police officer. "Your car may have been broken into. Could you come with me?" She did. But when I pulled out the handcuffs, she fought. She kicked me. She screamed. She escaped. She could identify me. My face. My car. For the first time, a victim lived. 1,975. Colorado. I became bolder, more reckless. I abducted Karen Campbell from a hotel. Julie Cunningham while hitchhiking. Denise Oliverson while riding her bike. One night, with a body in my trunk, I stopped at a gas station. The attendant noticed the smell. "Problem?" he asked. I smiled. "My hunting dog got carsick." "Nasty smell, right?" He laughed. "Tough luck, buddy." And he walked away. That's how easy it was. Because people don't want to see the truth. The 16th of August, 1975. Salt Lake City, 2:30 a.m. A patrol officer noticed me speeding with my lights off. I fled. A chase followed. They searched my trunk, pry bar, rope, ice pick, handcuffs, mask. "What are these?" "I was burglarized," I said. "I'm protecting myself." But it wasn't enough. Carol DeRanche had identified me. The game was over. Or so I thought. 1,976, March. First trial, Carol DeRanche case. There was no jury, just the judge, and he called me guilty. 15 years in prison, but I was still fighting. We went clean. He returned to Colorado for the murder of Karen Campbell. While I was at Aspen Court, I saw an opportunity. I gave permission to browse the library. The window was open, and I jumped from the second floor, outside, to freedom. I hid in the mountains for 6 days, but there was no food, no plan, only desperation. I ended up stealing a car. The police stopped him. I got caught again. The 30th of December, 1977. Glenwood Springs Prison. I cut a hole in the cell ceiling with months of undercover work. That night, I climbed through the ceiling, passed through the pipes, and went down to the prison housing. I stole the guards' clothes. I squeezed through the front door. And no one noticed. I got on a plane and flew to Florida. New identity, Chris Hagan, a student at Florida State University. But I was still me, and the dark impulses were still there. The 15th of January, 1978, 3 a.m., Florida State University, Chi Omega, sorority house. The back door was locked. I opened it. Picking locks had become routine for me. I entered quietly. I walked down the hallway. I opened the first door. Margaret Bowman was asleep. I killed her fast. silent, brutal. I moved to the second room. Lisa Levy, the same thing. Then I entered the room of Karen Chandler and Kathy Kleiner. I attacked them, but one of them screamed. The lights came on. Panic began. I ran. I escaped. But the DNA was left behind bite marks on Lisa Levy's body. The 9th of February, 1978, Lake City, Florida. Kimberly Leach was 12 years old, brown-haired, an innocent child. I abducted her from school. I took her to a cabin. And I killed her. That was the last one, the youngest, the most innocent. I dumped her body near a pig farm. They found it weeks later, partially mummified, unrecognizable. The 15th of February, 1978, Pensacola, Florida. I was driving a stolen orange Volkswagen. A police officer stopped me. License, please. I don't have it with me, I said. Your name? Kenneth Raymond Misner. But he checked the car. Everything turned out to be a lie. Get on the ground, hands behind your head. That's how it ended. With a traffic stop. Miami, June 1979, Dade County Courthouse. Television cameras were recording. It was the first serial killer trial broadcast live. I acted as my own attorney because I was still that intelligent, charismatic Ted. I looked into the eyes of the jurors. There were women, some of them smiled at me. I was still wearing the mask. The prosecutor presented the evidence. The bite mark from Chi Omega. It matched me perfectly. Eyewitnesses. DNA. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the judge said, what is your verdict? Guilty. The courtroom applauded, but some women cried. For me. Judge Stewart looked at me. Theodore Robert Bundy, I sentence you to death by electric chair. May God have mercy on your soul. I smiled. I hope you'll say many good things about me, Your Honor. I said, I'm a good attorney, end quote. He smiled as well. You truly are. Under different circumstances, I would have been happy to see you in my courtroom. That was my final performance. And it was perfect. Florida State Prison, death row. 1,980. 1,989. For 9 years, I objected, fought, and gained time. But eventually, time ran out. January 1,989. Only days away from execution. FBI detectives arrived. Ted, give the families peace. Where are they? How many? I bargained. I give information. The execution is delayed. However, the governorship rejected this. I finally spoke. More than 30, I said. Maybe more. I didn't count. Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Florida, everywhere. I kept some of their heads in my house. I raped some of them, several times. The detectives looked on with disgust. But why? They asked. Because I'm addicted. It's like pornography. After the first experience, you want more and more, and you can never get enough. 7 a.m. Florida State Penitentiary. There was a crowd outside. Some chanted, "Go burn, Bundy." He was wearing t-shirts with words. Some were praying. I entered the execution chamber. The electric chair, Old Sparky, was standing there, brown, worn, smelling of death. They tied me up. They put electrodes on my head. Final words. I want to say hi to Jim and Fred and everyone else. You guys are awesome. I was gentle until the last moment. I wore a mask until the last moment. They pressed the button. 2,000 volts. My body contracted, trembled, burned. My eyes remained open. And then, darkness. Now you know that. More than 30 young women, dozens of families, hundreds of broken hearts. But do you know what the most terrifying truth is? I was ordinary. I could have been your neighbor, your coworker, your classmate, that polite man you pass on the street, the soft-spoken counselor on the suicide hotline. Monsters don't look like they do in movies. They don't have scars on their faces or twisted smiles. They look like you, like me. And that's exactly why they're terrifying. Now I ask you, if your neighbor, your coworker, even your lover were someone like this, would you notice? Or would you, like everyone else, believe the mask?